Gilles Plante, ANZ's Chief Executive for Northeast Asia, Europe and America, joining us on the program today. Gilles, good to see you. I guess let's start with market sentiment then, because we're looking at these problems in Europe. You're the CEO of Europe for ANZ. You know, what's the situation like to you?
Yeah, I think what we've seen in Europe and America and the repercussion here in Asia is the realization that the world is probably entering into a lower growth phase, and the adjustment of the financial market is usually pretty abrupt. Now, after the past couple of weeks, probably markets are reassessing what's going on.
You say that, Gilles, but when we have a look at corporates, they are churning out money. They've got strong balance sheets. We saw that in the earnings season. Why is that not translating into stronger growth?
Yeah, I think the worries is mostly around the financial sector. I think uncertainty around balance sheet of banks, uncertainty around the marking of the assets in banks in Europe, which then could translate into the real economy. I mean, you remember in the GFC, that was the same thing, uncertainty around the financial sector, then provoked
fears about credit, etc. That's what prompted things, isn't it? When we saw that seizure of the credit market,
and the transmission into the real economy.
But that's why they're holding on to more cash these days.
And
they
they're forced to, haven't they? As well.
Right, on the capital levels. So what does this mean? That we're in this slow growth environment, lower returns, a new normal, and it's been called not a recession?
I think if we consider that the West is entering into a lower part of growth pattern, their current account will be actually in less deficit. Therefore, that means, by definition, that country like Asia would have to have smaller surplus. And there is two ways to deal with smaller surplus. One is you accept lower export, lower growth, or you consume. And we think that actually the consumer in Asia will take over some part of the slack that has been happening in the West. And that's why we are very confident that in this part of the world, we're not going to see a recession.
Well, what about elsewhere in the world? What about America? I mean, so we have CPI numbers tonight. We're still looking at anemic inflation. Are you expecting QE3? Are you expecting double dip there? Or what's the call?
I think actually just on the QE3, if you think about what Bernanke has said, and basically will keep interest rate very low for the next 2 years, the effect of that announcement was in effect a QE3.
I mean, really say
mini QE3. And we're not ruling out, we're keeping all policy options open as well. But what else is he supposed to say, really?
Yeah, and I mean, I think perhaps, the measure that was taken in the global financial crisis are probably not at the same level today, because obviously the debt in the West is a lot higher than it was.
Well, you had a guest on when you were doing the word from Asia, who said to you that, well, when we did QE2, perhaps credit did more harm than good.
Yeah, more harm globally, because you had inflation being, spread around the world, but then also people didn't add jobs. In fact, they tried to add to efficiency, and people lost their jobs. You're still seeing unemployment above 9%.
I think what has changed from what happened 2 years ago and where the situation we are here today is actually the strength of Asia and Asia Pacific, which actually now is an integral part of the financial market system, both economically but also financially. And because Asia has a relative strength, we do believe that a double dip recession will be avoided in Europe and America because of the strength of Asia, which wasn't the
5 years ago, I was asked you that, you said there's no way that Asia or China could take up the slack, but the world is a different place.
The world is a different place, and while we can debate about is China going to grow at 10%, 9%, or 8%, it's still a very large number on a very large economy, and now they has a very important place in the economic balance of the world.
Okay, that's really interesting. Well, now talk to me about sentiment. Would you say the feeling is still quite different between what's happening in Asia, Northeast Asia, Europe, and America?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a stark contrast between the two. I mean, the West and Asia. I mean, in Asia, the confidence is there. Obviously, everyone is worried about the contagion effect of what could happen if Europe is not solving their current crisis. But overall, the business sentiment and the consumer sentiment is actually quite positive. I mean, this is a newer way of working out, the difficulty of the financial market for Asia. And I think as we were talking before, I think both consumer and corporate are a lot more equipped nowadays, and they are much important part of the word commerce than they were before.
Do people use the word decoupling with you? Because that seems to have gained traction again. I mean, the last time we talked about this was in 2007, before the global financial crisis. Of course, it proved wrong in 2008 because everyone was affected. You can't escape.
I'm not hearing a lot of the word decoupling. I'm actually, if anything, I'm hearing the word like integrated. So now Asia is actually integrated in the world economy. This is the third pillar. We had Europe and America, and everybody was focusing on this most of the time. But nowadays, our clients in Europe and America are actually much more concerned about what the central bank in China or what the central bank in Malaysia will do.
Really?
Yes, so there is actually a different focus and a different importance that Asia has taken in the world stage, right? Which is positive.
Yeah.
Which is positive. I mean, the prospect of growth, the prospect of development in Asia is so buoyant that actually Europe and America will benefit from it.
Okay, well, let's talk about integration. I mean, what are your thoughts today on listening to this news story that Hong Kong, the exchange here, is going to be more integrated with, well, integration, they're saying cooperation with Shanghai and Shenzhen. To you, these three markets, are they basically one in your view?
I think they're not quite as one, but they are part of one objective, which is the internalization of the Chinese currency, the internalization of the Chinese capital market. As every development in China, as we know, China take very small step, deliberate step towards an objective, and I think that objective is an harmonization of all the market throughout China.
Okay, so other top stories I want to pick your brain on also is all the M&A activity. I mean, you would think in all this global market turmoil, people would be retreating, trying to hold more cash, but people are getting aggressive, or companies are looking for some sort of takeover targets. Foster's, SAB, San Miguel going out.
I think in every era of uncertainty and volatility, the strong player tend to consolidate the industry.
Right.
And if you have a strong balance sheet, as we've seen with the name that you mentioned, and if you have a strong capability to invest rapidly, there are great opportunity, especially when those targets are exposed to the fast-growing market of Asia. I mean, ourselves at ANZ, we developed very aggressively during the financial crisis because we have positional strength.
For you? Is ANZ finish expansion through those means, through buying up other companies and banks?
Our main focus is organic development, and that's been our main focus. But as you know, we've been looking opportunistically at acquisition in this part of the world, but they have to satisfy our pretty strict criteria. One, it has to be on strategy, so in this part of the world. Two, it has to be value accretive for our shareholder, and three, we have to be able to integrate. So we've done some, like the RBS acquisition, and we walk away from some. So we are opportunistic. We're in a fantastic strong position, AA rated,
Not triple A?
Not triple A.
Oh my goodness.
Not triple A as yet, but fantastic position.
Okay.
So I just want to ask you first of all, you said before that you don't see a double dip in the States. You've got this Jackson Hole conference, Ben Bernanke speaking, 26th of this month. The concern is about quantitative easing Mark III.
You are obsessed. Obsessed.
I know, but it's interesting. So everyone believes it's going to happen. That will hit Asia. What will be the impact, you think, on your business, and do you think it's going to happen?
No, as I said before, I don't think it's going to happen. We are very confident in our business here in Asia. I mean, the growth number here in Asia are looking very healthy. The consumer in Asia is actually very, very healthy as well. And our business, our customers are telling us that while they might expect some volatility and some potential difficult condition ahead, they are very confident about the outlook here.
Can I talk about the volatility in the markets? Do you mind, just quickly? I just wanted to ask you, since you're the head of global markets, how do you make money in this volatile, environment?
I mean, I think volatility is a factor of life, and I think in Asia, if you think about the past 10 years, we have had a lot of volatile period. So consumer and corporate customer are used to it. I think they're much better equipped, in my mind, than their Western counterpart. And it also creates some opportunity. And we talked about industry consolidation. We're talking about also acquiring market share in those volatile times.
But it was so well equipped. Why were they panicking just a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's overreaction to an appreciation of the impact. But now, as we've seen, the market have quite down. The volatility has retreated, and order we think will be a much order, in the future in Asia.
Zeb's been covering a series of deals that were taking place today, and you've got to be asking, haven't you, Zeb, at this point? Well, do these companies see that these stocks have bottomed out and this is a good time to be buying?
Certainly. We've been following it all morning, largely in the food and beverage space. But as you look at it from your perch, I'm curious whether it is the time to buy. We see so many deals happening in this area. Perhaps other industries may see consolidation or takeovers as well. What is your sense?
I think our customer, we are in a very good position with a great balance sheet, great strength, and with the opportunity to buy assets which are exposed to the high growth part of the economy in Asia in particular. I think it's a fantastic time to get a footing, to consolidate, and to increase market share. Absolutely.
And I'm just curious, within your own business, ANZ's business, specifically as you expand in China, are you seeing the most opportunity with consumers or the commercial side of the business?
I think what we try to do is to build a balanced business, a franchise across the retail side and the corporate side. I mean, for example, we have been very assertive in building our middle market customer. Those are the medium-sized company, the local corporate, the emerging corporate. They are the backbone of the business in Asia, and we've been very keen to expand in this part of the world.
So do you buy other companies? Are you here and doing M&A? Is that when you have further M&A plans?
I was talking about banking.
Oh, right. I'm asking about ANZ.
Yeah, but is there a country that you would like to expand further in, such as Korea, Northeast Asia? So I assume that includes Korea, China.
I mean, Greater China is our main focus in Northeast Asia. Our operation is expanding in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, and in China. This is where we concentrate most of our effort. But at the same time, Japan, Korea, and obviously our customer in Europe and America are very important to us because they value our network. We're present in 28 markets across Asia Pacific. They want to be associated with a bank like us. We value relationship, and we can provide them insight within those markets.
You mentioned China. I want to ask you again, amongst your peers and also yourself, is the Chinese debt situation a growing concern?
It's not a growing concern for us. I mean, we don't.
Should it be?
As a banker, we are always worried about everything. But in terms of prioritization of worry, this is not on top of our list. We think actually China has the strength to go through that period of turbulence. I think they have a lot at their disposal.
There will be turbulence.
There will be turbulence in the world. There's no doubt about it. But China is actually in a great position. We're talking about an economy, a very big economy, which is growing at 8, 9, 10%. We can argue about the number, but still growing. Urbanization is there to stay for the next 2-3 decades. And if you look at the track record of expansion and management and business management in China, it's been very good over the past 20 years. So we actually feel that they are very well positioned to continue further.
And I find that strategy so interesting. Those medium-sized companies, the ones, as you say, that really form the backbone of this very large country. That's the sweet spot.
It is. I mean, it is a sweet spot. As I say, we are building a balanced franchise, and we also banking the blue chip company in Asia. But if you think about where we're coming from, our history, and we've celebrated 175 years last year. Those middle market customers, we know how to bank them in our own market. This is a transportable skill, and this is a skill which is valued by the corporate in this part of the world. As I say,
I believe ANZ said that you had a revenue target of growing 35% for this year in Asia. That's what the last numbers we read on our Bloomberg terminal. So you can argue with the professional system. But are you on target right now? Is ANZ maybe exceeding that, or we get asked numbers? That's what we do here.
Yes, sure. As you know, we're gonna update the market tomorrow in our trading updates. But you know, the only thing I can do well is our business is doing well. I mean, and it's not surprising. We are, you know, our strategy is to concentrate in this part of the world. This part of the world is doing well. Our customers are doing well. So you know, you expect our business to do well. Okay, there you go. Very positive. Emphatic statement there to end it all. Thank you, Gilles. Gilles Plante, ANZ, CEO of Northeast Asia, America, and Europe.